Hi guys, so this is a little different. We're doing this one on the PC, specifically my Toshiba L630 laptop. So even on this one, the screen size will be slightly different, but it's Windows 10 and Affinity Photo works really well on it. So how to restore and recolor old family photos in Affinity Photo on the PC. Let's have a look. Now, your old family photos, we can repair, tidy and hand colour a faded vintage print in Affinity Photo on the Windows PC quite easily. You can bring your old family photos to life again. Many of us will have old family photos and vintage prints tucked away at home, so now might be the perfect time to dig them out. Brush them off and digitize them with a scanner or your camera. I'll tell you how to do it with a camera right at the end of this video. Once again, you can open the image in Affinity Photo to perform all kinds of impressive restoration work and breathe new life into those beloved old prints. In this case, the image we're using is from the stock studio, so it's easy to locate. Now, select the stock studio and search for Old Family Photo. And you'll see the one I'm using is on the top row there, centre top row. When you find the photo you want, double click on the image. Don't try and drag it onto the workspace, double click on it and it will open up in a viewer, in a display, something like this, assuming you've got standard Windows 10. Now right click on the image and select Copy Image. Then open Affinity Photo and select File, New from Clipboard. That's in Affinity Photo. You go to File, New from Clipboard. Your new image will appear in the project and you can get rid of that preview screen. Now, first thing, save your project and give it a proper name. Your new image will appear in the project and you can see there that it's been copied and a new image made from the photo sitting in memory. Okay, you've given it a proper name. Good. Now select the Layers panel. We don't want that stock studio there anymore. In this case, the image we are using is from the stock studio and it's an image type file. You can see the right side there where it says image. You need to rasterize the image to turn it into a pixel image. So you can right click on the layer and select rasterize image. Now with the portrait open, go to the layers panel and tap the new layer icon, new pixel layer there. So you've got one layer which is now a pixel layer. You're going to put a new layer in. Grab the inpainting tool from the toolbar and you can see your new pixel layer on the right hand side there. Go across to the left to the inpainting tool. It's hiding in that list below probably the default Band-Aid. If you've been using it for something else, that will probably be different. It seems to default to the last used tool. But you want the inpainting tool, which is second from the bottom there. Now go to the toolbar and set the current layer and below. Now on my interface, you've got to click on that little tiny dot that's accessed on the far right. You click on that and it will bring up current or current layer and below. Your screen layout might be slightly different. If you can't find current layer and below, it'll be along that toolbar somewhere. But that's the one you want to select. Now paint over scratches to remove them. Zoom in or out as need be and resize the brush as needed. You don't want to be using a really big brush because you'll get rid of too much. Brush out any imperfections and tear marks and burn marks and spots from old work on the image. Spend some time with this, but be careful of your brush size, flow and hardness. Select the Adjustment Studio icon in the Studios panel and choose Black and White from the list. There's your Adjustment Studio. We've gone for black and white. You just want the default. When you click on that, the options will come up and then you just close that panel. Select the default. Next, tap the Adjustment Studio again and choose Levels. Now there's our nice black and white image. You now have two new adjustment layers, the black and white adjustment and the levels adjustment. In the context toolbar, drag the black and white adjustment to boost the contrast, then use the gamma option to control the overall brightness of the picture. I used 15, 75 and 1.5 respectively in this image. That seems to do a good job for this image. Now we're going to use the dodge and burn tools to add some definition. First, to merge a copy of all layers, select all the layers, then from the Layers menu, then tap Merge Visible. You can see that, the Layers menu there, and it's way down near the bottom, Merge Visible. That means all the layers that are selected, it will merge them and create a new layer above everything else. And there you can see it. This creates a new layer above all the others. That's the one we'll be working on. Select your new layer. Select the Burn tool, hiding underneath that magnifying glass, and set tonal range, midtones and opacity 5, and paint under the chin, cheekbones and lips of the faces to deepen the shadows. Now be very careful with this, you don't want to give them black moustaches and hairy chins. It's just to lift the image. This one's not too bad to start with, but you might have an image where it's very pale. Some of the really old images, they're little more than a pale suggestion of a person on the image. So you'll need to darken under the chins and nose and lips to give it some definition. As I say, the outcome will depend very much on your original photo. Now this may look like double the information, but it's not. What we're pointing to there is the tonal range on the right hand side. Now again, that's accessed in my case from the little indicator, the double arrows on the far right hand side there, and you can see the grey of the drop down arrow pointing toward it. And in that you can set the tonal range to mid-tones and the opacity to 5%. And then you can close that and paint under the chin, cheekbones and lips of the face to darken the shadows as mentioned. Now use the dodge tool in the same tools list to lift the forehead, cheeks and nose. Now that's in the left hand side where you selected the dodge and burn tools. So the dodge tool and the burn tool are in the same menu selection. The outcome will depend, as I said, very much on your original photo. Now, paint the clothes. This is the really fun part. Make a new layer, then click the blend mode drop down at the top of the layers panel and change it from normal to colour. Select the brush tool. Choose a colour, then begin painting over the girl's dress, for example, to apply the colour. Adjust the colour options. And you'll probably need to adjust the brush size too. It's likely going to be far too strong, so go to the Layers panel and lower the layer opacity to gently tone it down. And you can see I've dropped the opacity there to 58%. Make another new layer and again set it to the colour blending mode, then paint a colour for the skin. So download the skin tone swatch from my download website page and select colours, select colours from that with the colour picker. Continue adding more layers to build up the colours. If a colour looks too light, try duplicating the layer and changing the blending mode to multiply to darken the area. Then lower the layer opacity to suit. Now you can see I've put a horrible green in the background there, but you can change that of course. I've done that for emphasis. Click the adjustment layer icon in the Layers panel and add a selective colour adjustment, then target and darken the blues, for example. Or in this case, you might like to darken the green or even lighten the green. Add a curves adjustment and plot an S-shaped curved line to adjust the contrast. And you can see by the girl you can just see behind there, I've added too much contrast there and her hand has virtually disappeared. But you can adjust that. That's the fun of this. Now, finally, add a vibrance adjustment and increase vibrance and saturation. You can make these sorts of adjustments on any image, of course, not just ones you're colouring. Now, here's a couple of great tips to end off with. The first stage in restoring old photos is to digitize them, and this is best done with a scanner. But if you don't have one, you can take a shot of the print with your camera. Keep the light even, ideally with 2 lamps either side of the print at 45 degrees. Use a tripod and shoot at a low ISO, like ISO 100, to keep noise to a minimum, and select a mid-range aperture, such as f8, as this is where lenses tend to be at their sharpest. So digitize your old photo, open the image in Affinity Photo, crop, straighten or rotate the image, review your photo for any corrections you want to make the necessary adjustments to your image, apply a filter to reduce noise, and save the newly restored image. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this a bit of fun. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the thumbs up to like. I really appreciate it.